Hello everybody, welcome to the review of the Blu-ray Scream Factory, Shout Factory release of From a Whisper to a Scream, also known as Offspring. Now, I'm not sure how many people know this, but Vincent Price, he's one of my favorite actors ever. Unfortunately he's not alive anymore, but when I was in high school, I had an obsession with him, and to this day I still do. I can't get over his eerie nature. He has a voice that is just phenomenal, and I wish he was still alive today because not a lot of actors today can match his personality. Christopher Lee's still alive, thankfully, so I think we got another few good years with him. And as everyone knows, he's also an icon of horror, classic horror that is. But we're not here to talk about that, we're here to talk about From Whisper to a Scream. Now, if you get this Blu-ray release, by every ounce of God, do not read the back of the case because it gives away the ending. It's an anthology film, so really the last segment, the last part of the opening segment really doesn't matter. But it would have been just nice if they left it out. Shout Factory, I love you to death. You're one of my favorite distributed companies out there. You're releasing a ton of cult classics out there. You know, you're releasing my favorite show of all time on DVD, Mystery Science Theater 3000. All of your transfers are phenomenal, but please, if you ever see this, do not give away the ending again. I'm not sure how many of the DVDs actually did that, but I know for this one it does, so please do not read the back. I don't want anyone zooming in and seeing that. But one thing I can say is that it has plenty of special features. Now, the transfer of this, as I said, it's great. It's wonderful. It's the Shout Factory. They know how to take care of their stuff. It's hard to compare another company that does it better that's not a major motion picture company. But first, I know they're not like a small company. They release a lot of things. But for what they do release as a smaller company than something along the lines of, let's say, Warner Brothers or Universal or something like that, it is phenomenal. And this is no exception. They made the audio better, they made the visual better. It's clean, it's colorful, it's vibrant, everything's in good detail. It shows the 80s effects really well, and I gotta say, guys, you did a really solid job. Very high praise for you. Let's give them all a round of applause. They did a fantastic job at putting this transfer out there. Now let's talk about the movie. From a Whisper to a Scream, aka Offspring, is an anthology movie about Vincent Price. His niece was recently put to death because she was a serial killer in the town of, what's it called? Oldfield. Sorry, I couldn't remember what it was called there for a second. And he's basically explaining the history of Oldfield to this news reporter. And it's just a series of horror stories in between that. How it's all connected and how the town is just cursed with the feeling, the aura of such tragic events. Now, here's the thing. It's an 80s anthology film, and these are always a lot of fun. I like Tales from the Crypt. That was a great show. I liked the Tales from the Crypt movie. I know that wasn't the 80s. It wasn't the 80s. I think that was 70s. Vault of Horror was really good. I think there was another in that series, but I'm probably wrong. I think it was just those two. I loved Creepshow 1 and 2, Creepshow 3 I never saw. Tales from the Dark Side, great series, great movie. Even the Tales from the Crypt movies weren't that bad. My favorite was, it was the one that was inspired by I Walked with a Zombie. I can't remember what it's called, it's slipping my mind. But Their Little Blood wasn't bad. But I'm not here to talk about those, sorry. Let's get back on topic. The problem, there's a light problem with this movie in that couple of the sections, this goes with most anthology films. No anthology films will ever, no anthology film I've ever seen has nothing but good segments in it. And this one's no exception, especially the horror films. The problem, the first segment I didn't care about. The way that the back of the case described it is that including stories of a necrophilic madman. I'm expecting something different. It's kind of only hinted at a couple times. At one point they show that he probably did, but it's never really in great detail. I mean, I'm not saying I want to actually see that, but it would have been cooler if they went into a bit more detail with how that worked. The ones I really liked were the Freak Show one, because of how depressing that ending was. Well, like, spoiler. And the great gore effects that one had at the end, and the very last story. Those two were the best. The second one was also was okay, but the first one, it was just meh. Second one was okay. This is good. They got better as they went on, which is cool. They said that saved the best for last. That's for sure. The first story, as it says, about necrophiliac. Second story is about a witch doctor who knows how to basically live forever. Third story is a freak show, and I liked this one a lot because American Horror Story Freak Show, I've only seen the opening episode, but I loved it. I loved that episode. I saw the remake of Freaks. There was a remake called Freak Show, because apparently that's just an easy way to title it. I love the whole idea of, the Freak Show, and they always take place in a certain time period. I guess it's because they don't really do them anymore. I'm not really sure. Whoever wants to correct me on that can. And it's obviously run by a psychotic lady, because if it's not, then it's not a real freak show movie or story, I guess. And the third one is about, it takes place after, exactly after the Civil War, and basically Union soldiers get attacked by these children. On the back of the box, it never mentions the Freak Show one. I guess, I don't know why they didn't mention it. It's on here, it says, including stories of a necrophilic madman, a voodoo priest with life-prolonging powers, and a legion of children with an appetite for flesh. And it even says on the back, fear times 4. So, they've left out the last story. I'm guessing they wanted people... it was probably just a light mistake. It doesn't really matter. And this isn't an anthology movie that plays it safe. It goes dark. It gets very dark. It gets very violent. It's not complete splatter like Dead Alive or Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead or any of those zombie movies. And I was misled. Not really. It wasn't their fault for saying it. I was just expecting the kids with appetite for flesh to be zombies. That was just my stupid mistake. But it's not an overall splatter flick, but it does have good gore effects, specifically the Freak Show one, that's more or less at the end. And overall, the acting is really good. I was surprised. Even from the kid actors, they're all really good. They're really, for an 80s anthology film, they're not really known for having great acting. This one actually really did. This is a very underrated film in terms of acting. Vincent Price, obviously, he holds his own. And Vincent Price is the one who steals the show. Even if he's phoning it in, he's great. But everyone else, they really tried. It's obvious that the people who made this movie wanted to make a good movie. And I gotta give mad props to these people. I think all the segments were made by one guy, though. I don't think this was one of those anthology movies that, made by every segment's directed by a different person, like the Twilight Zone movie or ABC's of Death or VHS, the VHS series. Now, I know there's still anthology horror films. Some of them recently, actually, some not. But they're dying. They're not as good as they used to be, because while VHS 2, and VHS 1 had good segments, VHS 2 had the best segment of that series, ABC's of Death was a complete disaster. The bad segments were outweighed the good segments, excuse me. And that was the problem with that one. They take risks because they're always independent. They can take risks. They can do things that are out of there, that stuff that Hollywood would never allow, which props to them. But, horror films, not just horror films, anthology horror films of old, they just had something in them that these movies don't. They tried too hard. Back then, they knew what to do. Sure, back then they might have seemed kind of trying too hard, but now it seems like they are really trying really hard. I highly recommend this one over those. VHS 2, definitely see that one, though. The first two VHS movies are highly recommendable. Never saw the third one because I heard that one was just awful, which I don't know how you manage. I don't know how someone manages to make. Like, I don't know how sequels can get worse. That's kind of something that blows my mind. I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic here. And get this for the collection. This will sit perfectly alongside the Creep shows, the Twilight Zone movie, the Tales from the Crypt films. This sits perfectly alongside them. This is an underrated gem. In fact, I like this because I gotta take the disc out because I put the disc back. It also has, it's a reversible cover. I wish they put the Whisper to a Scream on this side because I like this title more than I like Offspring. And this artwork is way cooler than this one, I think. I wish that they would have used this instead. I'm probably going to rotate it later. But I can really highly recommend this movie to anyone who likes 80s horror films, especially this transfer. I know there's a DVD release, there's multiple DVD releases. I never saw those ones. The one I did see recently at the store was like $3, and it was a double pack with Theater of Blood, which I have not seen either. And I'm pretty sure the transfer is terrible. This transfer is worth it. It's about like $15 on Amazon. If you can find it cheaper, obviously get it, but I think that the price that's at now, it's worth it. Overall, I give this movie a 4 because there's some dull moments in it. I didn't like the first segment really. It was just kind of there. But it's still a good time. There's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing really that bad with this movie. The acting's all great. The effects are really, really well done. It's not afraid to do weird things in this type of movie, and it's not afraid to get dark. And I know that's kind of a standard thing for anthology films. But I don't know. Do I like this more than Creepshow? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'd have to watch Creepshow again. I do like it more than Twilight Zone movie, I think. I'm saying I think a lot. But I know I liked it more than I know I liked it more than the modern day horror, not the horror films. I know I liked it more than the modern day anthology films. Definitely check it out. Pick it up, even if you just get a DVD version. Even if someone gets a DVD version, if someone likes Tales from the Crypt, that series, and Creepshow, this is fun. They're gonna love this. They're gonna absolutely adore it. Anyways, check it out. I hope you enjoyed the video. Everybody, take care.